Hello, friends, and welcome to my new episode. For today's episode, I thought of doing something which interests me a lot, and it's talking about movies where one of the characters, sometimes more often than not, the lead character, has played more roles than one. Now, double roles are quite a common feature in most Indian movies, be it in any language. But I think what excites us even more is when a character is playing more than two roles. You know, a triple role maybe, or even a larger number of roles in the same movie. That's what tickles our imagination and amazes us that wow, our same favorite actor is seen in three or more different characters in one movie. So I was sort of thinking of some of the memorable movies or the important movies where we have actors in more roles, three or more roles. One of the earliest films that come to my mind would be Shivaji Ganeshan's film Navratri, which came, I think, in 1964, 1965. It was the mid 60s, I think, where he essayed nine different roles. And it was quite an amazing thing to even imagine one actor playing nine different roles at that time. I think, I may be wrong, but I think that's one of the first instances of someone playing multiple roles, so many multiple roles in a movie. Shivaji Ganeshan's Navaratri. That was remade in the 70s in Hindi, called Naya Din Nayi Raat, starring Sanjeev Kumar in nine different roles. And I remember as a kid seeing that movie and being super excited to see not one, not two, not three, but nine Sanjeev Kumars sitting next to one another in, I think, the climax scene. And it was so exciting. I was absolutely amazed. How did they manage to do something like this? So, Naya Din Nayi Raat, I think, was a remake of Navratri and quite a memorable film, actually. Great performance by Sanjeev Kumar. Then we come to Bairag, which was really, really a film that everyone was looking forward to because it had Dilip Kumar essaying a triple role for the first time, and it was a really much anticipated movie. Unfortunately, Bairag got delayed. It was launched in the early 70s and eventually had its release in 1976, by when Dilip Saab's career as a leading man had come to an end, and Bairag was a flop. He essayed the role of the father and his two sons. All three roles played quite well by Dilip Saab actually, but unfortunately the film didn't do very well. Again, the next amazing triple role that comes to my mind would perhaps be Amitabh Bachchan in Mahan. It was once again a hugely anticipated movie. Amitabh Bachchan was at the top of his game at that time, and to see him, the prospect of seeing him in three different roles in the same movie was really exciting. And Mahan promised to capture Amitabh in every aspect of his personality. You know, the emotional Amitabh as the father, the angry young man Amitabh as one of the sons, and the all in all entertainer comedy role given to the other son. So Mahan sort of, you know, encapsulated the whole of Amitabh Bachchan in those three different roles. Surprisingly and unfortunately, Mahan didn't do well either. It really didn't set the box office on fire as it was expected to. But Mahan remains an important film as being the only Amitabh movie where he essayed a triple role. Surprisingly enough, when I was looking at the list of Hindi films where the heroes have played triple roles, most of them haven't done well. The sole exception, perhaps, being a 1985 release called John Jani Janardhan, which had Rajnikant essaying the role of a tough police officer who gets killed, and his death is avenged by his two twin sons, also played by Rajnikant. John Jani Janardhan was a hit. It was a successful movie. And I think from what I have read, it is a remake of Rajnikant's original film in Tamil, Mundru Mogam, which released around 1982, and it had the same story of a tough police officer who gets killed, and whose death is then avenged by his sons, also played by Rajnikant. So the stories look very similar. I haven't seen Mundru Mogam, but I think it's quite safe to assume that it was the original of John Jani Janardhan. Back in the 80s, there was Kamal Hassan who did Apu Raja, which was the Hindi released version, and Apurva Sagodharargal was, I think, the Tamil original, where he played the role of a father and his two sons, one of whom actually is a midget. And Apu Raja was fantastic. Kamal Hassan is such a wonderful actor, and he got ample scope to display his histrionics in Apu Raja in the three different roles. The role of the father was a very short one because he gets killed, but Kamal Hassan, as always, was fabulous. Kamal Hassan reminds me of his other movie, which I think came in the late 80s or early 90s, Michael Madana Kamarajan, which was a fabulous, fabulous entertainer. Those were the days, when movies from the South were not so easily accessible to us who were sort of bred on Hindi cinema and Bengali cinema in my case. So for us to get access to South Indian movies, especially with subtitles, was a difficult thing. These are the pre-internet and pre-YouTube and pre-OTT days, so it was quite a tough thing to get movies from the South back then. But we did look forward to movies from Rajnikant and Kamal Hassan, because we knew their movies would mean something new, something innovative, something which we perhaps hadn't seen in Hindi cinema till then. And Michael Madana Kamarajan was this fabulous, fabulous entertainer, and I remember being absolutely bowled over when I saw the movie. It was such an entertaining film. Coming back to Hindi movies, there was Dharmendra, who played a triple role in a very, very forgettable movie of the late 90s or perhaps early 2000s, I'm not sure. It's called Jio Shan Se, where he played a triple role, and eminently forgettable stuff. It was a period when Dharmendra was mainly resigned to doing B-grade action movies, and this was one of them. Along the same time came a Mithun Chakravarti triple role in a movie called Rangbaz, and it was absolutely hilariously and audaciously enough copied from a super hit Hindi movie called Tridev. And Rangbaz had Mithun Chakravarti essaying all the three roles, played by Sunny Deol, Nasiruddin Shah and Jackie Shroff in Tridev. It was the identical story, and I'm amazed how Mithunda did all the three roles. And Rangbaz again was yet another B-grade movie, and I don't think it did very well. I'm not sure, it could have perhaps recovered its costs or something, I don't know, but not really a memorable movie Rangbaz was. Staying on with Kamal Hassan for a while, he's done Apu Raja and Michael Madana Kamarajan, and he also, of course, did 10 roles in Dasavataran, which was fabulous. I think that came around 2008 or 2009, and a fabulous movie which one expects someone like Kamal Hassan to do 10 roles, and done with such aplomb, such brilliance, absolutely. There was, of course, more, mediocre stuff from Hindi cinema. It came in the form of Hum Shakals, directed by Sajid Khan, which had Ritesh Deshmukh and Saif Ali Khan, and I think also I can't remember whether it was Baman Irani or not doing the third role. Oh no, sorry, Ram Kapoor. It was Ram Kapoor, Ritesh Deshmukh, and Saif in Hum Shakals, which was terrible. Each one of them had a triple role, and while reading, of course, the script sounded funny and hilarious enough, with situations where the trio get mixed up, but in reality it was a terrible movie. Hindi movies, curiously enough, had a few instances where character actors, especially actors essaying comic roles, did triple roles in movies, and they were quite fun to watch actually. The first example that comes to mind is that of I.S. Johar in the 1970 crime caper Johnny Mera Naam, where he plays three roles of Pehla Ram, Duja Ram, and Tija Ram. And I thought he was fabulous. I.S. Johar was fabulous in each of his three roles in Johnny Mera Naam. Then, curiously enough, there was Mahmood. I think in the following year, in 71 or 72, he did a movie called Hum Joli, where Jitendra was the hero. And Mahmood essayed three roles, which were actually modeled on the three generations of Kapoors: Prithviraj Kapoor, the grandfather; Raj Kapoor, the father; and Ranbir Kapoor, the son. And Mahmood essayed all the three roles absolutely brilliantly. I thought he was fabulous. Actually, Mahmood had four roles in the movie, because at the end of the movie, where Mahmood has a kid, and the newborn baby's face had Mahmood's own face superimposed on it. So technically, he had four roles in that movie. He was great fun to watch in Hamjoli. There was also Asrani, who made his own movie, directed his own movie called Hum Nahi Sudhrenge, where he played three different characters, three lookalikes who were not related by blood. They were just three random people who looked like each other. And Asrani essayed all the three roles. So, some comedy actors, some comic actors essaying triple roles is also a feature that has happened more than a couple of times in Hindi movies. Of course, how can I forget Kishore Kumar in his absolutely madcap Badhi Ka Naam Dari, where he plays the main role. He also appears from time to time in the movie as the director of the movie, giving instructions to others. And in an extremely hilarious and curious sequence in the movie, a jail sequence, Kishore Kumar plays every character in the jail, be it the jailer or the warden or even the security guard of the jail. Every character is played by Kishore Kumar. So, mad stuff, absolutely. Baddi Ka Naam Dari. But that again had Kishore Kumar in more than three roles. I was thinking of movies where the female characters have essayed more than three roles or more, and I really couldn't think of any, excepting perhaps Gajagamani, the movie directed by the legendary painter M.F. Hussain, starring his muse Madhuri Dixit. And Madhuri played five different roles in Gajagamani. That is the only instance I could think of. And of course, Priyanka Chopra, who essayed 9 roles in her What's Your Rashi movie. Now, Gajagamani didn't do well, and neither did What's Your Rashi, so maybe that discouraged female actors to try and do more than 3 roles in a movie. I wish it doesn't, and I wish in future we get to see more such instances of actors doing 3 or more roles. There have been a few movies in South which I've heard about, but I've not seen them, so I don't know how good they are. Like Vikram apparently did a triple role in a movie called Anyan, where he plays a police officer, a fashion designer, and a serial killer, all at the same time. And it's quite an amazing range when you think of it. Someone is saying 3 roles as diverse as that in one movie. So that's quite unusual, and I would love to have access to that movie and watch it. And then there was Surya in the science fiction thriller 24, where he plays 3 roles again. And I've not seen that movie either, so I wouldn't know. So there might be more movies. In fact, I would love it if I have missed out on important movies or entertaining movies where one character plays 3 or more roles. I would love it for some of you to put down those movies in the comment section so that I can watch it. But as I said, I'm intrigued by movies. I'm really entertained by movies which have actors playing more roles than 2 roles. three or more roles. I was thinking of Bengali movies also where anyone has played triple roles. I couldn't think of any. The closest movie that would come would be a movie called Paddo Golap, where Soumitra Chatterjee plays the role of a police officer, but he dons the disguise and becomes two different characters in the movie. So, although technically it's not a triple role, he was essaying three characters at least at some point of time in the movie. And another one would be Raj Bongsho, starring Uttam Kumar, where Uttam Kumar plays an evil zamindar, and his son is also played by Uttam Kumar. And there is, so it's actually a double role, but there is a small segment where the evil zamindar is shown in his younger days. That's a different get-up, a different look, and that is also played by Uttam Kumar. So in that sense, maybe you can call it a triple role, but as I said, technically it's not a triple role. So I couldn't think of any Bangla movie which had triple roles. Some Tamil, Telugu, and Hindi movies, of course, I've given you quite a few examples of triple roles. And I wish there are some additions made by some of you in the comment section, because as I said, I love watching these kind of movies of triple role and quadruple roles and whatever. I find them greatly entertaining. So if there are movies that I have missed out, please fill me in the comment section. That's all for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I loved working on this episode and doing whatever little bit of research I did to find out about the movies. I hope you enjoyed watching it too. And until the next time, bye for now.